Right. Hello. Who have we got in so far? 6 people. How are we doing? Let me pull the mic closer. Yeah, how are we all doing? Hang on. Let me try and position this mic right. There we go. Let me know if that's fine. That should be all right. Should be able to hear me loud and clear, I think. Let me whack my screen on. And yeah, how are we all? Hope you all had a great weekend. Hello, Nick, Jeff, Bosco, and Steve-O. How are we all doing, legends? Thank you for joining me. And of course, anyone else that's in here, welcome to the show. Do make sure, drop a like on the stream. That will get us going. How was your weekend, mate? It was good. I had a good weekend. Quite chilled. Got some important stuff boxed off. What about you, mate? What about you? How was your weekend, Steve-O? Was you working or was you having a bit of a chiller? Do let me know, how is the audio sounding? Let me know if the audio is coming through okay. Do I sound all right? Do let me know. And yeah, please do drop a like on the stream. Let's get it out there straight away. And of course, I'm going to beat Nick to it today. I always take this, when I see you, that you're in the stream, Nick, I always take it as a personal challenge to beat you into getting the poll up before you tell me. So I've got it up straight away now. Everything is good. Yes, audio is good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, so obviously welcome to the stream. It's great to have you legends here with me. Interesting weekend, really, wasn't it? Interesting weekend because we basically just got no movement at all. If you actually go and look at it, I was kind of expecting a Sunday movement, but really, this was basically into Monday, wasn't it? We got one kind of real volume candle here where we actually got some good volume through, basically on the open of CME, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night when the CME opens. So that was literally the only point. We had this little push up here, but again, it was very slow, wasn't it? And again, slow drop down. This was really the only decent volume candle of the weekend, and it came in the last hour of Sunday. We didn't really get any movement until Monday, and then we got a push all the way up. As you can see, what did we do? All we did was we basically just come and liquidated all of the price action from Wednesday onwards, didn't we? So, this whole move here was just a move to come and liquidate, obviously up here, and obviously take out anything that had built over the weekend, kind of in all this area here. Take all of that out, and yeah, that's where we're at. So then, we got the push up, the liquidation through early in the morning in Asia session, and then even before, basically, right into London Open, we retraced it. So it was just a Burj Khalifa pattern, wasn't it? It was a up, then down. There's a nice tall building, and there we go. So that's kind of what we're looking at on the hourly anyway, and obviously what we've had so far. But the weekend was basically just a write-off, wasn't it? Tiny pump up Sunday morning into mid-afternoon, and then a drop back down, and then the whole excitement came on Monday morning earlier today, and that's kind of all we've had so far anyway. Boring stuff, sorting last minute taxes. Oh, mate, yeah. Yeah. That is that is definitely annoyance, mate, and definitely boring, that's for sure. But apart from that, we've not really had much movement, have we? You know, the whole weekend, we're basically back towards and in the zone where we spent the whole weekend, aren't we? So that's where we are in terms of price. Now, if you actually move over to altcoins, you can see they look very, very different to Bitcoin. So if we pick out Solana here, you can see this is the range where Solana traded, you know, Saturday into Sunday. But Solana, and we'll have a look at obviously other altcoins now as well to see if they followed suit. We started to get an uptrend earlier on in Sunday. And as you can see, even on this pattern here, you know, even when Bitcoin was giving this move, Solana isn't anywhere near to obviously retracing down towards the levels of Saturday and Sunday, like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is all the way back here, isn't it? In levels of Saturday and Sunday. Whereas Solana is much above that, all the way up here. Granted, yes, it fell off from up here, but it's still massively ahead. Where obviously, if we just look at Bitcoin again, you know, it's right within its Saturday and Sunday price action. So what does that mean? You know, what does that mean when you're outlining that? All it means is obviously Solana, and we'll look to see if others followed too, ETH and the rest. Solana has been stronger than Bitcoin over the past, you know, 2-3 days. And that is evident on the chart because, yeah, Solana is much, much higher than the weekend price action, showing its strength, even with obviously the move back down today. So that's good to see. Now, ETH is kind of, it's ever so slightly, and I say this, you know, with actual fact, it's ever so slightly stronger than Bitcoin at the moment. And again, you know, you can see that basically where Bitcoin is relative to the ETH chart is here, isn't it? It's basically wedged right in the middle of its Saturday, Sunday price action here. So it's not really that much higher up than Bitcoin relative to the structure that it built on the weekend. So it's shown a very, very minute more bit of strength, a little bit more strength nonetheless, but nowhere near obviously the strength of Solana. You know, if ETH was having the same strength as Solana, we'd probably be seeing ETH up towards 3,140-ish right now. If you have a look at Solana, obviously you can see that there. So ETH ever so slightly stronger than Bitcoin, but not really that much at all. XRP, weaker than Bitcoin. Hype, weaker than Bitcoin, weaker than Sol, weaker than ETH. BNB, where even is the weekend? So this was funny. This started to move on its own, didn't it? So this on Saturday actually had an upward trajectory. So even though this is quite far down from Sunday, you would put this in the category of being stronger. ZEC up 5% today, so obviously naturally stronger. And then of course you've got the others. So, you know, Pump's had a good time on it. Pump has had a really good move over the past couple of days. But in general, yeah, you can see the fall off on altcoins, you know, -1, 2, 3, obviously Pol up to -7%. So in general, we are still seeing a weakness of altcoins, but definitely with individual strength, such as Solana at the moment. Yeah, do make sure you drop a big like on the video. Let me know, did you hit any trades over the weekend, or did you hit any, you know, towards the end of last week that you closed out maybe at the end of the week or on the weekend? Oh, sorry. If you did, let me know. Now, of course, the fun at the moment is in gold, isn't it? And silver. You can see gold hits another all-time high today, 4,600. It's now still into price discovery. So as you're watching the stream, and obviously as I'm doing the stream, we are watching history at the moment because this is obviously the first time that gold is exploring this price. And we are en route now towards a $5,000 gold, which if we look at the weekly chart, this is just insane, isn't it? This is just insane. I mean, if you go back to the start of 2025, we're not quite at a 2x yet for gold over the past year, but it's getting there, isn't it? It's very close. It's not far off at all. But particularly, you know, if you go to the end of 2023, we are now obviously towards 2.5x territory. I mean, silver, silver all the way up $85, and this just is continuing on back from not even last year. This is going back 6-7 months. We are towards a 3x on silver now. So the metals trade is still paying off, and Stonksy is still hitting the metals trade very, very nicely. I had a look at the 5-minute on silver this morning, and that has been doing absolute work on the upside and the downside. I mean, yeah, this has been hitting it really nice. Caught a huge move on silver from 75. So this still works. Obviously we talk about, don't we, the 5-minute chart, looking at it on Bitcoin and altcoins. It still works on other assets. Catching the drop here, once, twice, and then catching the reversal there. Brilliant stuff, and it's still in the green. But yeah, silver and gold, and obviously to other metals as well. If you are maybe getting an interest in metals, then we have, where is it? I've got it somewhere on. I really need to clean up this list, but I do have copper, palladium, and other stuff on this list. So there's platinum. There's platinum up 4.4% today. Let me pull that down there. There's palladium up nearly 4%, and copper up 2.8%. So metals really having a good time. Copper up to $6 now. So yeah, that's a good old time in metals. Good morning, Wiz. How are we doing? Great to see you. RGC. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, actually now. RGC. Yeah, I'll have a look at that now, mate. But yeah, the bull market definitely continues in metals, and we are just obviously eagerly awaiting a time for Bitcoin and crypto to kind of get their chance and get their hold on it. Delicious. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at, and what we've got so far. So Bitcoin still yet to get going properly, but we are in a good spot. I would say we're in a good spot. If we go to the weekly, how did the weekly close? Let's go and have a look at this one. I can get rid of this. I'll have a look at that RGC now as well, Wiz. Let's go see the weekly chart. So the weekly candle didn't close particularly nicely. I'll be honest. That's not a great weekly candle close, because basically all we got was a sweep of liquidity, didn't we? But we're still within this range, and we're still quite a way away from the downsides, coming into daily, weekly demand. So we're still a way away from that. It's just obviously, can Bitcoin get out of here? I think as soon as Bitcoin gets out of this bit here, so if you kind of just mark out, anywhere in and around here, depending on where you want to draw it, let's draw it a bit. Let's just say that. As soon as Bitcoin gets out of here, and even if it enters, a point where it's trading between, just pick somewhere random, say here, say there's resistance and then here's support. Even just trading in here is obviously a lot better than in here, because we are away from danger. We're still, while we're away from this down here, we are still in the danger zone, aren't we, from potentially falling out of it if we get a negative catalyst. Where when we break out and we start heading towards 100 or above, gives us plenty of room, to kind of escape down here, doesn't it? Because then that opens up as real demand. Then when we're out of it, there's any test there, you would assume a bounce is coming. And of course, it doesn't put us that far away from all-time high. So it is quite, it's quite critical that Bitcoin moves away from this range at some point. Again, last week's candle close, not great, but I wouldn't consider it terrible, given the fact that it did close fairly high up into the range as well. It's not like we got a full flush all the way down after swiping liquidity. But at some point soon, we are going to have to try and make a break out of this range, or we may come and test, towards demand. Now let's have a look at RGC. That Wiz is saying. Let's see. RGC. So it's up another 5% pre-market. Finished on plus 10.5 on Friday. So yeah, this is tough. Oh, look at that. It's not even that long ago. Started December, $12. Started December, $11, $12. All the way up on Thursday. Look at that. All the way up to 68. So it's a bioscience holding. What is the relevance of this again, Wiz? I forgot. What's the relevance of RGC again? I can't remember. What is the what's kind of the momentum behind it pumping? I can't remember what you said. Obviously, the Venezuelan stock market is just continuing to rip. I still haven't filled out that agreement, but you can see there. If we just flick onto it for a second, I mean, that is just incredible, isn't it? Look at that. It's up 4x now from down here. Yeah, this is making a climb back to the upside. Not a clue, but it's just gone nuts, yeah. God knows. 3 alpha gallium nitride. Gallium nitride working with a customer, and whoa is all I got to say. Let's see. What's the ticker? What's the ticker? Oh, is that not it? What's gallium nitride? Thanks, Steve. I like rhodium a lot. Oh, so is gallium a metal? It sounds like a metal, doesn't it? Let me know. Let us know anyway. Let us know anyway, Steve-o. Where's my other thing gone? Oh, there. Silicon Valley. Silicone, really. I mean, silicone. Not sure if there is a ticker, but it's a metal. So was it saying he likes rhodium? Physical rhodium. So yeah, so this has been moving as well. If this is the right thing to be looking at anyway for rhodium tracker. But yeah, very interesting. I mean, yeah, metals are just on a run now. The key thing about metals is to note anyway is, let me know in the comments, why do you think metals are running so hard? Typically, metals will be running in a risky environment because metals are a risk-off asset. You know, obviously, you know, that old saying of safe haven asset, that, you know, store of value and etc. Particularly, you know, gold and silver out of them all. Now, they would typically run because markets are forward-looking and obviously move ahead of time. They would typically be moving like this. I'd be interested to see what you think anyway, which you've probably done a good piece on it. But the two scenarios that move into my head is, obviously, these are pricing something in for something coming this year in relative to a TradFi collapse or a stock market black swan event / you know, just complete shift in the trend, or it's a select group of countries, or one country, maybe particularly China, obviously buying up as much gold, which is obviously then spurring on, you know, other metals to be bought up in the event that they're planning something. So, you know, are they planning to maybe back the digital one with gold or something like that? Like, what do you think, Wiz? Why do you think metals are running like this? NVTS gives a lot of exposure to gallium. Let's see. Let's see what this has been doing on the daily. Okay, so this is nicely up recently, isn't it? Yeah. Even from, you know, just 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago, this is 50% up. Not as high as in October. But this is massively up. I mean, oh, yeah, look at it even down here. Yeah, that's massively up. But yeah, what do you think? You know, anyone in the chat, and obviously, you know, Wiz, what do you think the scenario is that kind of the market is running for with the movement on metals? Do you think it's a kind of preparation for a stock market kind of turnaround and, you know, either black swan event or just general shift in the trend to being bearish? Or do you think it is countries or a country buying it up in preparation for something else. Because China doesn't want dollars, they control the market for metals. Yeah. Cough cough client is working with the AI chip makers in States and in China, mostly China. Oh wow, okay. So maybe worth doing a bit of digging on that. What we've just booked out then. We'll speak through all my thoughts on Wednesday with you. Ooh, Chinese or Taiwanese. Yeah, so I think it could be a mixture of the two as well. I think we are definitely seeing a shift in, and we've had it, haven't we, where Chinese companies in Africa, Chinese mining companies in Africa, are now settling in won instead of dollars. Obviously, China is doing a lot of business in won with the Saudis, I think, isn't it? And just that general BRICS kind of companies. I keep saying companies, they're the countries like India, Russia, kind of using their own native currency, or one of the other ones, like the one, to do it. And you got to remember as well, I think this is something worth exploring as well, Wiz, maybe on a video, or we can definitely cover it on Wednesday. Is what's interesting is if it is indeed China, like everyone thinks, buying up all the gold and maybe buying up a lot of silver as well, which is pushing the price. It's really interesting that we had the whole story around the Trump administration going into Fort Knox. Do you remember that, when Elon, basically picked it up off someone on Twitter? Someone on Twitter said to Elon, in a comment reply saying, Fort Knox hasn't been audited in like 40, 50 years. So then Elon picked it up, didn't he, and was like bashing it for a couple of weeks, saying, this needs sorting out. Someone needs to audit it. We had Trump saying we're going to go into Fort Knox and do an audit, and I think there was even talk of Elon doing a live stream walking through Fort Knox, wasn't there? And then literally since that point, zero, just radio silence on the whole Fort Knox thing about doing, an audit of it, seeing if America's gold is actually in there. Now, it's really interesting, the fact that I think basically if you look on the weekly chart as well, particularly for gold, it probably does kind of line up with around that time that story was brewing, for when the gold chart actually just started to go parabolic. Like, it'd already gone up a bit, hadn't it? But if we go back to this time last year, gold was at like what, 2,500, 2,600-ish. So it would have been very much around this time period last year when gold started its upward trajectory. And it'd be interesting to see actually when that story was around about, obviously, Elon and Trump saying they're going to go into Fort Knox and actually find out if the gold is there or not, and then literally zero. I wonder if China maybe found out that the US actually doesn't have any gold, or they've not got a lot of the gold that they say they do, and maybe they sold it off or whatever happened to it, and then they've suddenly gone, well, there's a major power play move here. If we start buying up all the gold, we could have 10, 20, 100 times more gold, maybe even more, who knows, depending on how much the US has actually still got left, than the US, which puts China really in a strong position in terms of having that hard-backed asset. So I'd be interested to see, obviously, what Wiz thinks on that. We're going to do a stream together this week. And, of course, just you guys as well. What do you think on that? Because, yeah, I think it probably does line up very well. I'm going to go back and actually have a look around that time when the story was brewing. It was just after Trump obviously won the election, wasn't it? And then I don't know if it was like before he actually got back into office in the January, or if it came a bit afterwards. But it definitely must line up, give or take a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, of when gold started on its parabolic run to when, Elon was banging the drum of saying we're going to go into Fort Knox and see if the gold's really there. It's not been audited in 40, 50 years, whenever it was. And then suddenly just nothing on that story at all ever again. Very strange, the fact it would just turn to radio silence. And then, of course, gold just started its upward trajectory. So, you could definitely draw potential theories that, did China and maybe other BRICS countries as well find out that the US really doesn't have any gold, or they don't have anywhere near the amount of gold that they obviously have on the balance sheet from that audit, so many years ago. And then have decided, this is the chance to really kind of build a power play against the US in terms of stacking gold and buying up a lot of the gold supply. So, US bank earnings are this week too. Yes, we've got a really interesting week this week because obviously with the price action that we've had today in terms of gold, silver, other metals, you know, we are waiting, obviously, aren't we, for Bitcoin to do something and for crypto to do something. But also, we do have others. Now, I didn't know about the banking earnings, but Wiz has kindly told us that we got US banking earnings this week. But the other key factor this week is on Wednesday, we are set to have the Supreme Court's decision on the Trump tariffs. So the Supreme Court is due to rule, obviously, in favor or against Trump and his tariffs. And then, of course, what will be the repercussions of that? You know, will then Trump, I believe, you know, it was circulating, I think, on Friday or Thursday, that Trump is going to try and enact some special powers to kind of overrule the Supreme Court and keep tariffs in place. Will the Supreme Court rule that Trump has to end tariffs now and obviously revert back to whatever they had previously before, you know, we went on that mad tariff surging spree? Will they, and obviously, you know, it's in here, isn't it? Not that one, sorry. This one. You know, will they rule that Trump needs to refund the tariffs? Now, what was interesting was, I think Bessent, you know, the Treasury Secretary, got asked this on Friday. And he actually said that the Treasury has enough money to refund all the tariff income if needed. But you've got to think that if that happens, Trump is going to look very weak in front of the world. And of course, you know, just his own people. And it's going to be quite an embarrassing thing for him. And obviously something they're going to try and avoid as much as possible, because after a year of obviously, you know, going on about tariffs, saying how much tariffs are benefiting the US, how much money it's bringing in, etc., to then suddenly have to stop them, or even worse, refund all the money they've got taken in. Suddenly it's like, well, you know, what have you actually done over the past year? You know, people in crypto certainly aren't any richer, are they? So that's one thing you can't point to. I think the US is actually having a good time in terms of, like, you know, the cost of living. I've seen a lot of reports saying that gas prices are, you know, really down and stuff like that. So in terms of that aspect, yes, but, you know, undoubtedly his biggest thing over the past year has been tariffs. You know, we're making so much money, blah, blah, blah. They're going to want to avoid giving all that money back as much as possible. But that's going to be a big thing. It's on Wednesday, I believe, unless it gets pushed to a different date before then. But also, we had something crazy happen last night, didn't we? Or earlier this morning. We had Jerome Powell. And this was bizarre. This, honestly, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think on this? If you haven't watched this video, let me know and I can put it on. It's only, you know, 2 minutes long. I can put it on. But this is crazy. Jerome Powell has basically just had to issue a video because the Department of Justice are basically trying to go after him. And this really seems like now it's getting toxic. It's getting really negative, and yeah, basically just toxic between the Fed and Trump and the Trump administration, because obviously Bessent, Trump, other people under Trump keep hammering home that the Fed needs to cut rates. Powell's an idiot. You know, they're going to get their own guy in there, etc. But yeah, I mean, this was crazy. The fact that, you know, you had the chairman of the Fed have to come out and do a video like this, like basically fearing that. I'm not, maybe not fearing, because you know, you can't imagine Jerome Powell would do anything dodgy, can you? He seems like the most straightforward, you know, rule-abiding, do everything by the book guy that you could possibly have in charge of anything. So it does seem a bit wild, the fact that he may have done something illegal that they could actually charge him for. I think maybe they're just clutching at straws to maybe try and fear him into pushing him out, you know, making him resign by saying, you know, I'm not putting up with this, and kind of trying to make him resign. But I mean, yeah, it was a crazy video, and I don't really know. I mean, definitely, I don't know off the top of my head a point in time when the chairman of the Fed and the president have been at each other like this, particularly to this point, because, yeah, like I said, this is turning really toxic now between these two. Yeah, do make sure, if you haven't, drop a big like on the stream. It is massively appreciated. Do make sure you vote in the poll as well. We've got US Open coming at us in 45 minutes. But yeah, this was bizarre. I mean, I'll just play a little bit of this clip for you guys in case you didn't get to watch it.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor.
Yeah, so that was crazy. Yeah, wild, absolutely wild. But yeah, so we've got that going on. So there's plenty going on this week to start the week. Even if Bitcoin isn't moving, even if we are going to wait a couple of days, whatever, for Bitcoin to try and get a move on. Even if we're doing that, there's still plenty going on. And just crazy. Let's see MSTR, because I was looking at MSTR on Friday. And I still can't determine where I think this is going to go. I think currently as it stands, if Bitcoin doesn't get a move on and we maybe just trade in January through this period, I see the likelihood of it coming down and testing that daily demand and weekly demand down at kind of 115-ish. You know, you could probably take the 120 to 110 level as just kind of a region. I do see the likelihood of that increasing, to be honest. Yeah, I think it seems like it would increase. So yeah, I think it's definitely interesting. But I look at that zone, and you just can't see, without Bitcoin starting to turn around, and without obviously giving MSTR that push that it needs. You do just kind of look at that chart and you think, you've had all this downtrend. You've not really got much to go before you come into weekly demand down here. And I look at it and I just think, it does just kind of make sense just to make that last leg down there. Now, does it need Bitcoin to take a tumble from there? That's obviously the question in it is, does it need Bitcoin to maybe drop towards its range low at like 85, 84K? Does it need Bitcoin to go even lower to 80K to kind of just get this move? I don't know. Or will it simply just do it itself because Bitcoin's just grinding in this range and MSTR just continues to be weak and just kind of lose value a bit? But I look at it and you do think like that's obviously max demand there. You know, out of all this chart here that we're looking at, because we're now on this price action to the left, this is where demand should come in. Anywhere in and around 120 to kind of down towards 110, maybe even a bit lower. That's where demand should come in anyway. So it's got another minus 27, 25%-ish to go until then. But I do look at it and you just think it doesn't look strong at all. You know, it's really close to actually its local lows, isn't it? Relative to where Bitcoin is too. Coinbase, on the other hand, I think this has been a bit stronger on it. Circle has definitely been a bit stronger. Gemini did get off to a good move and then again just retraced it, finished minus 4.5%. Yeah, look at MSTR and they're dangerously close to the 1 as well, the 1M nav. I think on Friday I tweeted about it. I think it was at 1.04 on Friday. So dangerously close to falling to 1 and below 1 on MNAV. Which I don't know if that's even happened yet for a strategy or if that's the closest they've come so far. I can't remember what it was at when it actually hit its local low, but yeah, definitely interesting for sure. Let me know in the chat though, what would you like me to cover next? Do you want me to cover some altcoins? Do you want to look at meme coins? We've got around 35 minutes until US Open. I'm going to grab a drink in a second and go to the toilet before US Open. But let me know in the chat, or just, I mean, we don't have, you ask whatever you want. You guys know the drill by now. You can ask literally whatever you want, or, you know, bring any discussion points, whether it be crypto, whether it be TradFi, whether it be anything, or just life in general, let me know. Now, we do have the Stonksy Discord server open for anyone. So yeah, the Stonksy Discord is open. So I'm going to put that in the chat. If you aren't in the Stonksy Discord, you can come and join it now. So, and it is open now. It's open server. So there we go. Join the Discord. Pin. So yeah, just click that link. That's pinned in the chat now, and you can come and join it for free. It's an open server now, so do come and pop in. And of course, share it out. You know, if you've got a group of friends that you chat to about crypto, if you're in any groups where, you know, some good discussion goes on and stuff like that, via the Discord link, feel free to copy that Discord link and give it out to, you know, your mates or your crypto kind of online friends, whatever. You know, take that link, fire it out, and give it to anyone that you like, because yeah, it's perfectly fine to do. Anyway, I am going to just make a drink. I'm gonna go to the toilet, and then yeah, we'll carry on with the stream. But in the meantime, obviously, do stick around, don't go anywhere. And let me know in the chat what you want me to cover next. Do you want me to look at any specific altcoins? Just want me to start rattling through altcoins? Do you want me to cover meme coins? Whatever it is. And I won't be a minute, so don't go anywhere. Right, we're back. We're back. Thank you very much for sticking around. We'll carry on with the stream now. So yeah, we've got half an hour to go until US Open. Let's see what we've got coming at us this week in terms of data. Let's have a look. But this week, let's set it to this week. Bang. And let's see what we've got. I don't actually know what we've got. To be honest, I don't know when we've got CPI. Oh, it's today. Oh, it's tomorrow. Well, there we go then. Got CPI tomorrow. So CPI coming out tomorrow, an hour before US market open. So that should create some good volatility tomorrow. So do be aware of that and remember that. Obviously, tomorrow's not a streaming day, so we won't be watching that on stream live. But Wednesday we do have retail sales. We've got PPI on Wednesday and PPI and retail sales. So again, and two more big ones as well on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, quite big days for data and important data as well. You know, in terms of the data that comes out every single month, these are some of the biggest ones. Obviously, CPI speaks for itself. PPI is another big one. Retail sales is obviously a good measure of how the economy is doing too. So alongside kind of NFP, and I don't know what else I'd put. I can say that these are the most important ones. So definitely the next 2 days should be fascinating. But yeah, anything else? Not really had much, have we? What have we got going on? Here's a bit. It's the only one that's positive today. Obviously, pump is something good to cover because pump had a really nice pump over the weekend. Or was it last? No, when was it? It was this bit, wasn't it? Yeah, it was this. So if you pardon the pun, and this had a good movement because they announced something, I don't know into detail what it was. It was some kind of like fee structure change. Again, in detail, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was a nice move on pump. And then, of course, the rest of them are down today. Obviously, Fartcoin looks like it's on the descent. So a lot of these now are starting to, eat into the gains that they made earlier in the year. These held up quite well, even on Bitcoin's push back down from 95k back towards, where did we go down to? Was it 88, 89? These held up quite well, but obviously the lack of movement in the market is getting to them now. So this looks like it's going to be on course to go and revisit the start of the year levels. Tengu, again, same thing. These have held up really well from where they topped out at. But now it looks like, anyway, from how the daily candles are looking, the lack of Bitcoin movement is just going to kind of slowly start chipping away at them. And if we don't get any Bitcoin movement, these could end up all the way back to where they started pretty quickly. Pepe, they're all same thing, aren't they? 72% move there on Pepe. So we opened no more, 80%. But then, obviously, since then, we have retraced 20. So, not massive amount lost so far, but you can definitely see that it looks like the market is going to start eating into them gains that have been made if we don't move anytime soon. That's what we're up to with meme coins anyway. Not a lot of movement on them. What was the Trump coin doing? Yeah, so Trump coin literally just smacked into SR, didn't it? There we go. So that SR that we drew out, God knows when, I can't remember. I can't remember when we drew this SR out, but there's the SR. Obviously tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times on the daily. So 3rd, 5th, 6th, and the 11th tested this SR region, and now we're falling off. So if Trump does regain this region, we definitely know that we're onto then some strong SR flip. And then you could start looking up towards $8, $9 potentially, back up towards here. But this is the gain, obviously, and that offers some really good risk reward. If you are looking, again, this is not financial advice, of course. Nothing is ever financial advice. But if you're looking at it in terms of just a strictly TA point of view, you do regain this area, then you've got quite good, invalidation to wherever, obviously, your risk management system puts your invalidation. But basically, if you drop back below this region, then it's back below resistance, isn't it? So this is actually acting quite good, especially for a potential swing trade on Trump, which you'd need the market to kind of line up with it. But the invalidation there is easy, and you can make this as wide as you wanted. You could give yourself, say if you want to give yourself a really wide one, say if you're really looking to swing it, you could give that. If you wanted it tighter, you could do that. But this region of kind of, 10, 20 cents above and below this level is where your SR is. So you can adjust your trade for that. If you look at that, that's a 6.5 hour trade with using a stop of 6.6%, which on something like Trump isn't a lot. If you up that to say 10%, if you wanted to, then it becomes a 4 hour trade, which would still be a good reward. You could definitely pull that up, given that this is your SR region. If it gets back below here, then it's no good. So something like Trump, definitely worth keeping an eye on. Okay, not financial advice, but educational based. That's how you look for an SR flip and how to trade it. Yes, Lou, how we doing, mate? Great to see you. Lou is in the chat. Lou's a legend. I know Lou in real life. Thanks for joining, mate. It's great to see you. I hope you had a nice break too. I'll be coming to see you probably next week, I think. Next week? Sure, yeah, probably be next week, won't it? But yeah, Lou's a great lad. So yeah, thanks for joining, mate. I appreciate it. But yeah, apart from that, there's nothing real else going on just yet. We're just waiting, aren't we? We're just playing the waiting game. And again, all these structures that we drew out, weeks and weeks ago, are all still intact, aren't they? We drew out this ETH one, still intact. We're still at resistance, and obviously down here is support on ETH until we shift out of here. So all these are still intact, and all these are in play. And all this is obviously relying on is a break above here, and then to shoot up towards 3.6. And then, of course, from there, could either then trade in here, like it's doing now, or, you know, we get above there and then start making our way to 4K plus, probably up towards 4.2. Up towards here. So, yeah. All these structures still intact, you know, the same for Sol. You know, still, it had another pop at it today, didn't it? It had another pop at 144/145 today, rejected, but still looking strong. And again, you know, as soon as we get above here, bang, off to the races then. So it's just a game of patience for now. Well, you know, if you look at something like Sol compared to Hype, or you know, you look at it something compared to XRP, or even compared to ETH, really, you know, Sol's definitely looking the stronger out of most of them. It's the closest to breaking out, isn't it? And it's definitely had the most interesting and strong price action, given the fact that it flipped back above this with strength. So Sol's already done one SR flip. You know, we're just waiting on it to do a second one in a new place too for your cut. Yeah, and I've been seeing, mate. I've been seeing on here on your story. It looks so good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see how it looks. Yeah, we got 20 minutes to go until the US market opens. How about we just run through some news and some stories? Let's see. Have a look at TMG's page. TMG's is always the best, you know, for any news coming out or whatever. So Solana has taken back the #1 spot in weekly network revenue after holding the #2 spot for 11 straight weeks. BlackRock now holds 2.3 billion worth of MSTR. Dubai bans privacy tokens and tightens stablecoin rules. Bitmain has staked another 86,400 ETH. So they've staked just over 1 million ETH. But if we actually look, I've just seen there that Strategy has announced the buy. So Stale has announced the buy. How much have they bought now? So Strategy has acquired 13,000. Oh, that's a big buy, that. Hey, that's a big buy for Strategy, isn't it? So they've acquired another 1.25 billion and 91,500, just a little bit higher than where we are now. I wonder where they bought. I would probably estimate. I'd probably say. Hang on, let's look at the chart. I'd probably say that this was Strategy over the weekend, if I had to guess. This movement here on Sunday, maybe. No, actually, no, because the average price was what, 91. Unless this was them. Maybe this was them earlier today. Maybe this is where they bought it. Because the average price was what, 91,500. So there's their average price. Yeah, this must have been, unless they bought all the way. They wouldn't, unless they bought on Friday and didn't say anything. And this was kind of them moving it. Maybe this was them. And obviously that kind of works out with where Bitcoin topped out at to give them an average entry in there, maybe. But yeah, so that gives Strategy 410 Bitcoin acquired for 51.8 billion at an average price of 75,353. So they continue to bring that entry up, don't they? They continue to bring that entry up little by little. Yeah, that's fascinating. Do make sure to drop a big like on the stream as well. We've got US Open coming out in just over 15 minutes. And of course, if you do want me to cover anything else, do let me know in the chat. And I will cover any altcoin or asset that you want me to look at. That's perfectly fine. Just let me know what it is and I'll have a look at it. And of course, let me know if you want me to pull up whatever Stonksy is doing on something. Of course, I can do that as well. Right, let's get into it. Right, let's carry on. Oh, we got Gary in the chat. You got Gary saying, "I keep missing you. Happy New Year, mate." Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Gary. Thanks for joining, mate. Thanks for joining. How did everything treat you? You okay? You back to trading now, or what's your plan? Yeah, Strategy announced another buy, so yeah, I wonder how much of that was them. What did they buy? 1.5, 1.25. I don't even know how much money it takes to move Bitcoin where anymore. Depends obviously on how much of a sell wall there is at each price and how much needs to be eaten through. But I don't even know. Like, just looking at this chart standardly, I don't even know what 1.25 billion would do anymore. And again, it just depends on where kind of the ask levels are. But 1.25 billion wouldn't have done all of that, but it may have done some of it. Maybe this was them on that candle. Would kind of work out that way, to be fair. 91.5 there. Yeah, maybe this. I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're up to anyway. So another strategy buy. Let's see. We've got any news articles on CSE? Crypto YouTube views hit bear market lows as retail interest fades. So crypto YouTube viewership has fallen to its lowest level since January 2021. We still do all right on this channel. Still get all you guys, you guys that pop in regularly, still get everyone in. But it is hard to try and grow in this environment. It's hard to try and get like a viral video or, new people watching or whatever. So ITC crypto founder Benjamin Cohen shared data showing a steep decline in 30-day moving average of views across major crypto channels. So it's not just an algorithm change. It seems, yeah. I mean, it just seems. I think probably because of how poorly altcoins have performed, it's just kind of ate at people's morale and stuff, hasn't it? And I think Bitcoin can do whatever, and it will always bring excitement and a good feeling to the market. But where you get your real good feeling from the market is in altcoins, isn't it? It's just undoubtedly altcoins. Labour lawmakers pushed to ban crypto donations over foreign interference fears. Yeah, that'll be because obviously Reform have got a pro-crypto stance, and also they took that. I think they took that 9 million donation in crypto, didn't they? I think. Anyway, I'm not sure. Off that guy. I can't remember his name. Yeah. Oh, it was a cash donation, so that wasn't in crypto. No, it was a cash donation. He was a crypto guy. He was a former Tether investor. Just moved. Surrounded by boxes, empty and full. Fingers crossed for a Bitcoin upturn ASAP. Oh, nice, mate. Nice. Well, hope the move goes all well. My house is still in pieces, very much in pieces. So over the next couple of weeks, it should come together nicely. But yeah, it's very much in pieces. Yeah, I've got 10 minutes to go. I mean, what's the S&P doing? The S&P, if you have a look, the S&P obviously broke out of. I mean, you could just call it a normal breakout, but obviously I drew a ascending triangle pattern on it to show, obviously, which is just a compression of price, isn't it, up towards the break point. Now, it has tested this area quite well, so what you can do is you can just get rid of that now, and you could even keep this because it is still kind of following that, isn't it? But really, what have we got here is this. You've got this area, haven't you? Put that there, of SR, where you've got resistance, 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 and then you flip, and then there's your support, support, support. And then obviously there is what we, what we assume would be the best case scenario for happening. But yeah, it all depends, I think, if we hold this or not. If we hold this area of SR that we've now created, then obviously it gives every indication that the S&P 500 is going to go to 7,000 plus, maybe start the next uptrend. But if we get back below here, that will for where the diagonal is, and obviously for where this SR is, that will simultaneously break both. Because getting back below there, there's not really much room, so basically means you drop back below the diagonal. And then it becomes a case of, okay, how far are we going to drop? So there would be your first level of interest in terms of liquidity. Then obviously down towards here potentially. And then obviously reassess then for if it would even dare to come back down towards these levels, which wouldn't be good for, of course, crypto. But that's where you're at. Until then, obviously we can just assume that maybe it's gonna full breakout, which would be great. I'm going to close the poll now anyway. So we had 25 votes and that finished at 60%. So most people think that we are going up. Most people think that we're going up on open. 18 people watching. Do make sure you drop a like on the stream too. Please do drop a like. It'd be great to have this channel get back in YouTube's good books, because yeah, we are not in the best of books with YouTube, but each like does help push it to more and more people. But yeah, Bitcoin, I mean, if we look at the 4 hour, if we're going to go down from here, the obvious areas is obviously this first, then this, and then this, because there's your liquidity. And then you've got the yearly open, haven't you, which, let's tag that on. We've got the yearly open there, so put that in white. Yearly open. So there's your yearly open. And again, there's what's straight out. So we're as prepared as you can be for what will happen next. It's just a case of where does Bitcoin take its flight? Where does Bitcoin go next? Let me know in the chat though. Obviously, to those of you just joined, thank you for joining. Do make sure you drop a like on the stream. Do subscribe as well if you're new around here. Subscribe and check that pinned comment in the chat. We have opened the Stonksy Discord up to just anyone. You don't have to be a user to join the Discord now. Of course, you have to be a user to actually get Stonksy. But to join the Discord, you can just jump in. So there's 20 of you in here. I don't know how many are in the Discord or not, but if you're not, click that link and join. It's free to join and it's an open group now. So, come and get involved. It'd be great to have you. And let me know in the chat. Let me know if you want me to cover something specific or whatever as we move into US Open. I've still got time before we look at that. Right. Oh, so we're starting to head to the downside now. See, particularly the past 2 5-minute candles have started to head to the downside. At quite an interesting point. We are at quite an interesting point. So we just had someone join from the stream, I think. Someone's just joined from the stream. Let me know in the chat. Who was that just joined? Obviously, if you're watching on X as well, you can find, so for anyone watching on X, or, you know, if you want to just come back and join the stream tonight, sorry, just join the Discord tonight, you can, let me unpin this, unpin. You can find the link here. So the link is on the, it's on the Stonksy. I'm going to pin that actually. There you go. So yeah, if you do want to come and join tonight, you know, maybe you're at work and just listening to this or whatever, you can find a link to join it in the X account too, as well as obviously in here. Yeah, come join, come say hello, say you're from the stream, all that good stuff. So in terms of liquidity, the hotspot on the weekly chart is down at 89k, which, if you have a look, is basically where we just highlighted there. It's where we highlighted here. You can see the 3 lows there. Obviously, we've just taken one. We've just taken one actually in the past 5 minutes. But obviously, these here are wicks waiting to be taken. Now, if you look on the heat map, you can see these here. So there's them 2. And then, of course, the final big one here, which is that. So you got this one, and then this one, this one. So they're still waiting to be taken, which, you know, Bitcoin may go and be attracted to from here. But that's what we're looking at on the weekly, the hotspot to the downside. The 2 weekly hasn't been loading recently. Let's see if it loads. No data for whatever reason. 1 month, no data. 3 months. The 3 month, the liquidity's in the same places, down towards 70 and up towards 108. We've not really had much change in terms of that. Right, let's get on the 5-minute chart. And maybe today, because Bitcoin's not done much, we do a double one. Let's do a double one with Bitcoin and the S&P. There's the S&P, right in that SR zone, obviously low time frame wise. So there's that. Do make sure you drop a big like on the stream and keep having more people join. Make sure you subscribe, but also come and join the Stonksy Discord. It's pinned in the chat. You'll see the pinned comment at the top. Join the Discord and then the link. Come and join it. It's a free Discord. It's completely open now as well, the Stonksy one. We're just opening it up to the broader Stonksy community from YouTube and X and stuff like that. But also, once you're in, feel free to take that link and send it to a mate, send it to a group of mates, send it to, you know, anyone in crypto that you speak to that you think would be, you know, good to join. Send it around. You know, you are free because it's an open Discord. You can invite who you want as well. So do make sure you take that and yeah, go and share it out and get as many people in there as we can. So. Right. So we got US Open coming in 10 seconds. So the S&P has actually made a little push over the past 5 minutes. So the S&P's made a little tiny push, and there we go. I still don't have the bell. I promised you guys the bell on Monday as well, and I forgot to bring it with me because I'm still not at my permanent setup. That's still not ready and still not in a position for me to stream from. So I forgot the bell again. I'll try and get the bell for the next stream. But ding, 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 ding. That's all. That's all you've got. That's all you've got for now. So the VIX is up 10%. The S&P is shooting up now. The S&P is shooting up on open. Bitcoin's making a tiny little run. Tiny little run there. Nick. Hey, Nick, I know that you're furious about the bell. I know that you're furious about the bell. I can tell you're raging inside. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Oh, look at the S&P go. So the S&P is having a really good move up, which should, in theory, give Bitcoin some nice room to run. Should give Bitcoin some nice room to run. If it can get its mojo on. But that's a strong 5-minute candle from the S&P there. If we have a look, I mean that is a really nice push back to the upside. Bitcoin yet to get its mojo on. Come on. Oh, just hang on, everyone. Won't be a second. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. Sorry about that. That was my plumber saying that he'd found a leak in my house. Well, he's actually found a couple of leaks. I think he's found about 5 places where the central heating is leaking from. So, yeah, I had to take that call. But look at Bitcoin. I was watching it then while I was on the phone. I was thinking, oh, come on. That's exactly what we wanted. Obviously, catching up on this S&P candle here. I see that we have got my boy Bobby in the chat as well, saying LFG. Yeah, that's a nice reversal, isn't it? And yeah, it's good to see that we're actually taking advantage of S&P strength, because the S&P there came out with an explosive 5-minute candle and Bitcoin followed, which is good to see. You know, we didn't stick around lagging for too long, did we? So if we actually cut this off now and we'll just go back to the solo chart, let's have a look at the 1 hour. That's looking like a really nice hourly candle. That's looking like a really nice hourly candle. All we've done so far is obviously come and sweep this, which obviously was the low of this move. So that was the low of this move before we got the impulse move up. We've swept that, put in some nice absorption. That's a nice long lower tail on that candle. And now, yeah, pushing back to the upside. So in terms of low time frame and the hourly, we're looking good. Let's see if it can continue. Obviously, what we want is for the rest of the day now, start to try and grind back up, filling in some of this, and come and testing this upper area again if we can, whether that be today or tomorrow. But we don't want to go down too much further. Like I said, you know, if we go down too much further, we're probably coming for these liquidation points down here, which will drag us, you know, further away from the breakout to the upside. So this is all looking good, looking positive, and that is some nice low time frame price action on Bitcoin that we saw there. What we don't want is obviously this to retrace. That's only the first 5 minutes of the session. What we don't want is that to kind of just be a fake out at the start of the session, and then we head all the way back down and retrace it. We want to see some follow through now if we can. Obviously, if that was to the downside, first of all, on US Open, we'd probably be saying, you know, let's see the reversal now, because, you know, we're maybe faking out. Let's hope that's not the case for this move. But nonetheless, really solid move, really nice. Let's see what we're getting. So obviously Sol was one of the stronger ones, wasn't it? Yeah, Sol pushing to the upside pretty strongly. ETH, yeah, doing quite nice. So yeah, it's all looking quite good. All looking nice. I mean, it's not really much more to comment, is there, on the market itself? Do let me know in the chat if you want me to look at any specific altcoins. I mean, let's see. Obviously, there's no real point looking at the low time frames unless we're looking at, you know, the majors. If we just, I'm just kind of interested to see at what region. I need to look at Stonksy still catching the weakness on altcoins on the daily. Hype not looking too good. Hype. I've had this marked out for ages, haven't we? Hype looks like it maybe could go to $20 soon, and which at that point we'd be filling in this week. So I just want to mark that out. $20 itself, structurally, if you look to the left, makes a lot of sense. It's a psychological number, and we'd be coming in and filling in the 10 for the 10th wick. So that looks all good for Hype if it can get down to $20. Obviously not good short term, but longer term, that might be the point of turnaround for momentum. Zek, we did actually the first bit of this. So this is what we marked out on Zek when we were back here. I haven't looked at Zek for a while, but we did actually come up to here, and that was, oh, look at that. That was literally pinpoint, weren't it? We didn't come all the way back down here. Don't get me wrong. It's not the perfect plan. It's not the perfect map out. But look at that. Look at that for a potential short entry there. I'll be honest, I didn't take this. I forgot about it. I've not looked at Zek for a while. So That is devastating. I mean, already, if you had a limit order there, and this was done on stream, by the way, you're already 26, 27% in terms of downward price movement. Now, obviously, depending on what leverage you're using, that could be huge. That's a shame. That is a shame. Yeah, there we go. Dogecoin, it's kind of just slow bleeding down. Asta, again, Asta's another one where it could come to new lows soon. I think this area was always an area of interest for me, and I would be interested in just one more push down on Asta in towards 60, maybe, just anywhere in and around here, and I would be interested in it. Pump, again, we looked at Pump before, didn't we? Pepe, Ton, yeah, another one that's had, this started actually running before everything else, didn't it? If you look at this actually started running on the 22nd and ran all the way. That was basically, what a run at, from the 22nd to the 6th, it just had one red day, which was the 29th. That's a really impressive amount of green candles, that, isn't it? That's like almost 2 weeks worth of green candles with one red day in the middle. But yeah, I think, everything just seems like it's waiting. Everything's just waiting for Bitcoin, and it's waiting for just any sort of strength. So what's Bitcoin doing now? I think, we stay in a flow. We come down a little bit. Oh no, we actually went higher. We went higher on that past 5 minute candle while we were looking at altcoins. Yeah, nice. So so we're pushing on. Asta looking such good value. I mean, yeah, I suppose if you got the long-term view and you believe in, obviously, like that CZ won't let it fail, then I suppose you could judge your value area anywhere, couldn't you? You could judge it here, you could judge it at 60 cents, you could judge it just anywhere in between, whatever, yeah. But I mean, CZ publicly come out and basically said he'd bought Asta at was it like 90 cents ish, I think. You've got to find it hard to believe that he just kind of let like the public statement like that just be underwater forever, or for a significant amount of time. So yeah, I think Asta's definitely looking interesting for me. I thought it was good at $1 also. So what is it now? 69, 66, 69. Yeah, I mean, it's not got too much down to go. I mean, I said 60 cents, didn't I? Which is what, 15%-ish for me, I think. Or just over 10%. So, yeah, I mean, you're talking minimal points, aren't you, for something that potentially, can you get 2x out of it, a 3x, a 4x out of it? Who knows? Who knows? Ooh. But yeah, do make sure, if you haven't, come and join the Stonksy Discord. Like I said, it's pinned in the chat. You'll see it at the top, and it's an open Discord now. It's a completely open Discord, so share it out to your friends. Go put it in a group somewhere, whatever. We have decided to open the Stonksy Discord just to get more, obviously, community people in here. There's still people that join the streams and watch the streams regularly that aren't Stonksy users. And while you don't get full Stonksy access, that is obviously remaining to paid users. You can come and chat to the Stonksy community. Let's get some good chat going in there daily and stuff. Let's get it going. Yeah, thank you very much for joining today. Do make sure to drop a like on the stream. If you are new, subscribe, and make sure you keep tuned for my videos. I did put the video out on Thursday, of course. Let me get that up. So if you didn't watch that, obviously that's a couple days old now, but that's still relative. If you haven't watched this video, go watch it. It's still relative. This was more of one that can apply now. It could apply in a month. It maybe could even apply in a couple months' time. So if you haven't watched Thursday's video, go watch it. But I will have a video coming out for you tomorrow as well. So there'll be a video out tomorrow at some point. So do keep an eye out for that. And I'll be next streaming, of course, on Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Of course, come and join the Discord. Come and say hello. It'd be great to see you in there. And yeah, please do go watch the video. Let me know what you think. I'm keeping an eye out for tomorrow's one. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.